Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching, whatever time you're listening. Welcome to Your Onion Podcast. We have a special podcast today, as you can see. We're out on in a golf buggy on a golf course. So, and my guest is Michael Braidwood. Hello, Michael.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
So, Michael, can you give a brief introduction of who you are and your responsibility, and a little insight on where you come from and why you ended up here in Qatar?
Okay.
So that will keep us going as we go. Yeah, we've only got half an hour, but yeah, off you go.
Michael Braidwood, I'm the General Manager of Education City Golf Club. I've been here for a year and a half. My primary responsibility was to get this great golf club open, which we managed to do in a soft opening capacity on the 1st of January, and we should be fully open within the next month or so, which is great. And then after that, it's just to get it operating successfully and growing the game of golf, which is the main purpose of building such great facilities.
Now, you say a soft opening, so is there going to be a hard opening at some point?
Yes, so the golf courses got finished before the buildings. So we managed to get the golf courses open on January the 1st, so the avid golfers can come out and enjoy the course as well. There's great weather as well, and the buildings are all now complete. We're just waiting for final approvals, and expect to get the buildings operational in March.
Great.
And then soon after, we hope an official grand opening.
So when do you know when that's going to happen?
I don't know when that is yet, but that's.
So there's going to be a bit of razzmatazz and.
I expect so. Yeah. I hope Her Highness Sheikh Moza is really. Will be determined by her and her schedule, and then it would be great to see, of course, architect Jose Maria Lathabal come and show off his great work, and maybe a few other notable people to come and celebrate the completion of this project.
Nice. Okay, so how did you get into golf?
Well, I'm from Scotland, which was advantageous.
Yeah, well, I could tell by the accent.
And in Scotland, golf is very much a sport for everyone. Every town and village has a small golf course, and I think one day after school I came home and there was a set of golf clubs lying in the garage. My parents weren't golfers, which is
really?
surprising. Yeah.
So why was there some golf clubs?
My dad was just storing them for someone, so myself and a couple of pals took them down to the local building site. And
so how old were you then?
I would say about 8 or 9 years of age.
Yeah.
Onto the building site. Hacked around the building site for a couple of weeks, enjoying that until someone threw us off because it was a bit dangerous. And then my dad saw I was enthusiastic and organised for some lessons. We grew up near St Andrews, where golf was invented 500 years or so ago. And my dad recognised that I had an interest and arranged some golf lessons with a pro there. And really, I just fell in love with the sport. And ever since, I've played, and I was fortunate enough to make it my profession.
Wow. So when you were studying, did you study A-levels and go to college and university, or do you just study, A-levels or O-levels or whatever?
Yeah.
Was at the time?
Well, at the time, I was obsessed with golf. I did go to school, and
What are you saying?
I went most days as well. I actually went to school in St Andrews. You can imagine every day the school bus going past these golf courses.
Oh, wow.
There was a lot of temptation there.
Yeah.
But I did my classes at school, but I was playing a lot of golf. My ambition, like all young people when they play sports, to be a sports star, be a top professional. So I played golf, played at a reasonably high standard as a boy, and then decided to become a professional golfer. But I knew pretty early on there was enough people beating me at local level that being the big star was not going to be the big dream was over early on. But
I never realised. So that's why golfers become golf professionals, because they realise they can't go on to be.
Yeah.
So okay.
There's different levels. So the great thing with the golf industry is you can get involved and have it as a career without having to play.
Yeah.
So I got a job at a golf club on the east coast of Scotland called Montrose, and worked under a great pro called Kevin Stables. He was one of the best pros in the country at the time as a player, but also as a businessman running the golf business. So I learned under him, did my PGA training, Professional Golfers Association training,
Yeah.
which you learn how to teach golf, you learn how to repair golf clubs, you learn about
really?
running a
Yeah.
business, you
Wow.
learn about rules and tournament administration. So I did those exams, and once I passed, there was an opportunity to take a job at Gleneagles, which is Scotland's premier golf resort, and I went in there as sort of second in command in the golf.
Wow, that's not bad.
Golf department.
Yeah.
Taught a lot of golf. I actually got seconded by Gleneagles down to a project in South Africa at Fancourt. It's a beautiful place. And whilst I was there, my boss came to me and said, well, what do you want to do in the industry? And I said, well, I just love teaching golf and I want to become the best golf coach in the world. And he says, why don't you get into general management? I says, well, I've never heard of it. I don't really care. And he says, no. I think you'd be really good at it. He said, I think that's the direction you should go.
So rather than a golf pro,
rather than teaching general management. I said, okay. Not knowing what he was saying, but he was being a bit devious. He had another project up his sleeve that was about to start in a couple of years' time. But back at Gleneagles, I then got to continue teaching golf, but then got to learn a bit more about the background, the business side, and the hotel. I did some duty manager shifts in the hotel, which was great fun in the Gleneagles Hotel.
Yeah.
Only to then be offered a position to be the general manager of a golf club in Bahrain, which was brand new, the first grass golf course in Bahrain.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I actually said yes. I didn't know where Bahrain was, but I accepted the job.
Yeah.
And then headed out there about 6 months later. So that was 1998, and had 10 really fun and challenging years in Bahrain running the club there.
Wow. And after that,
just
just quickly, so the whole conversation.
yeah. So
about history.
my kids were born in Bahrain,
Okay.
and they were getting to secondary school age, and I really wasn't so keen for them to have their entire childhood on a desert island.
Okay.
So decided to move back to the UK.
To Scotland?
To Scotland.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I worked for a company which quite bizarrely was an offshoot of Gleneagles. It's called Braemar Golf Development, and it was a management company that offered advice to developers, golf course owners and such like, on their golfing product. So I worked for them for 4 years. Had a little bit of work in some projects in this region, did some work down in Oman, a little bit of work in Kuwait. But
And when you say work, what were you?
just advising on some projects. Pre-opening, there was a new golf course in Oman, and they needed some advice on how to get the business started,
Yeah.
recruiting the team, getting the policies and procedures in place.
Nice.
And then I ended up in Russia for a couple of years. So we picked up
You go from one extreme to the other, you know,
Yeah.
Scotland, Oman, Bahrain.
and yeah, so we picked up a couple of projects up in Russia.
Are they big? Are they big on golf in Russia?
They're getting there, but they're big on spending on golf courses, and there was 2 fabulous golf courses. One called the PGA National, which unfortunately for them was built pretty much in the middle of nowhere. So it was a tough business model, but it was the centerpiece of what's going to be almost a new town. I think about 6,000 or 7,000 houses are planned, apartment blocks, hotels, etc. But we did the pre-opening of that golf course, and then there was a golf course developed by Roman Abramovich in Moscow. I don't know if you know him, but
he's
the owner of Chelsea
yeah.
Football Club and such like. And I did the pre-opening of that, and that one actually is a much better business model, purely because it's in Moscow. The challenge with Russia is traffic. The project PGA National was 100 kilometers from the centre of Moscow, but it could
Right.
take 5 hours to get there because of the roads.
Wow.
Whereas this golf course, Skolkovo, on the outskirts of Moscow,
It's easier to get.
was easier to get to, and also it was a better proposition to be a member of, because after work people could turn up and hit golf balls and practice and such like.
yeah.
Whereas the other one was more of a resort. So I did a couple of years over there, and then there wasn't actually a huge amount of work out there on the golf development side of it. And during the previous 4 years, I had invested a little bit in my education in golf industry, and had signed up to the Club Managers Association of Europe Management Development Programme in order to then be eligible to sit an exam called Certified Club Manager,
Yeah.
which at the time there's about, I think, 30 certified club managers in Europe. So I've got my PGA, my professional golfer's qualifications. I've been doing the job as a manager, and I thought, well, why not get the qualification to match as well?
Yeah.
So I did that, and then they advertised for a position of Director of Education to actually run the association and run the education programs. And I thought, well, I fancy a bit of that because one, I enjoyed the programs and learning myself.
Yeah.
So it's always important to work in anything you do in life. You have to like the project, like the product.
Yeah.
If you're going to work for it, you've got to be passionate behind it. And the other thing was, I could work from home. And I hadn't been home for 2 years, so my kids were missing me.
Oh, wow.
Well, I had been home a couple of times,
Yeah,
but living away from home is challenging with teenage kids. So
Yeah.
I went back, set up the home office, and I had a great time running the education programs. And I still got a lot of travel because you'd be running.
If anyone's listening, it's just thunder that's gone overhead.
It's beautiful golfing
And it's
weather.
been raining.
And there was a lot of travel involved in that, running, going around UK and around Europe, laying on these week-long training programs for golf industry professionals, which was great. So
Nice. So you got the best of both worlds, working from home and then also, being able to
and going out, going out there. Yeah. So
how long did you do that for?
I did that for 3 years, and I'd always had a plan. I told them, I said, I'll probably do 4 years for you, and then I want to move on and do some different things.
Yeah.
And then I got a call from Qatar Foundation saying our general manager's left, who was doing all the pre-opening work, and would you like to come and see us and see, would you be interested in the role?
Yeah, but how did they find you? Were you just on a list of people that they could contact, or?
This is part and parcel of the network. One, I've done the work before, but in a different country in the region, and the other part was some of the team here enrolled on the club managers program as well, so they'd met me in that capacity.
Okay.
So somewhere along the line, someone said, "What about Mike Braidwood?" And so they called me up, and I said, "I'll come out and have a look." I hadn't been to Qatar I'd been to Qatar a few times when I was working in Bahrain, but I hadn't been for a few years, and I was amazed at what I'd seen. The improvements in the airport, all the infrastructure going on,
for sure.
seeing underground. I'm a bit of an underground railway geek, if you like.
Really?
Just from, I was fascinated with the London Underground, but when I lived in Russia, I was just fascinated with their metro system. It's beautiful.
Okay.
So I, things like that. So
Yeah, but how can you be fascinated? What are you fascinated about with the underground? Is it?
Well, if you go to Russia, their underground stations are like museums. They're beautiful.
I was going to say it's like travelling back in time, I suppose.
They're unbelievable.
There, yeah.
But just and if you look at the one in London, I remember going to the Transport Museum in London, and they're 150 years ago, and they're digging these tunnels under the city.
Yeah, that's true.
Just if you take things for granted sometimes, you think, well, that's amazing how they've tunneled everywhere. And so to see it, to something like that happening in a modern city, I think it's pretty exciting. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
And then I came and got shown around the project and just saw this amazing golf project with a vision of growing the game of golf and the vision of education. And so I've done golf management. I did education. I thought, well, there you go. You've brought the two together, which is great. So.
And do you keep yourself? Do you still play much?
I do, yeah.
And what's your handicap?
I'm still a registered golf pro.
Okay.
So I suppose I should still be playing off scratch. And occasionally I do. I have the odd good round, and I like to keep in touch with the game. So I think it's important.
Yeah, no, for sure.
When you're playing with members, prospective members, journalists, tour operators, it's good that you can show a reasonable bit of form.
Oh yeah, it would be a bit embarrassing if.
Yeah, and I like to keep in touch with all aspects of the game. Although I don't teach golf anymore, I still am interested in hearing the latest methods, techniques, things that are about trying to improve people's performance. So, find that really exciting.
So you came into the golfing world around 1990. So
yeah.
Yeah, I was just checking up on your LinkedIn. So it starts around 1990. So have you seen a lot of change in the golfing? Because, you know, I always associate golf clubs in the UK, when I was growing up, very posh, very, you know, you had to dress in a certain attire and, you know.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I had my Swedish family, we would go to Sweden and see those golf courses, and they were very casual in shorts, you know, polo shirts. So two different extremes. So, but in golf in general, have you seen a...
Yeah, I've seen a big change. I think golf has reluctantly changed. And
That's a good word.
I think it was a bit easy for golf. Golf was a demand-led sport for many years.
Yes.
So it wasn't a business. So
No.
the people who ran the clubs were really administrators who just remembered to send out the subscriptions on time and collect the money, and everything was fine.
Yeah.
And then there became an oversupply of golf courses. So then it started to get a bit competitive.
Yeah.
Unlike I think in most businesses, when there's an oversupply, rather than working on improving quality, people tend to just lower the prices.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened all over the world, really. Some countries, it's been stable, and some countries, mature markets like UK and America in particular, went into quite a quick decline. And golf had to change quickly. It had to modernise, and the people running the game had to upskill and become business people rather than just holding the fort, if you like.
Yeah.
And so the game has modernised, and the governing bodies of the game have modernised as well, which is great. So golf globally is governed by two main entities. One's the Royal and Ancient, or the R&A of St Andrews, and the other is the United States Golf Association.
Oh, really? Okay.
And they've actually just recently, and I was in Scotland last week just getting upskilled on the rules of golf. I went to a new rules of golf seminar. They've done a major upheaval of the rules of the game to make the game faster, to make the game more inclusive, and to make the game easier to understand for new people coming in, whilst achieving this by having everyone playing the sport under the same rules over the whole of the world, which is great.
Yeah.
So everyone has taken on board maybe the criticisms the sport's had, and the sport has worked hard to get rid of some of its preconceived conceptions. It's slow, it's for old people, it's for rich people, it's elitist and all that.
Yeah.
And it is worked really hard. And so when the financial crisis hit in 2008, 2009, clubs struggled and the game struggled, but it's reacted really strongly. And I think it's come up with a lot of innovation, a lot of fresh ideas. And one good thing is the whole industry reacted together and said, we need to fix this so that we can all benefit for the future.
Yeah.
And I can see that happening now. So golf, in my opinion, has never been in a stronger position. It's been the strongest position it's ever been. You've got better quality golf courses run with better educated people, better coaches who are making golf easier to learn and allowing people to accelerate their learning, and then much more relaxed attitudes to dress, to time, to different things. So it's really, really exciting. And then new young players on the scene are attractive to younger people. And then with social media and all the various digital channels, golf's becoming quite accessible to watch in different formats as well.
Absolutely.
So
No, for sure.
I think we're lucky with that. And then come to here in Qatar, and we've got one great golf facility up at Doha Golf Club, and then now to complement it, we've got Education City, which has been designed in a way where its main focus is to try and grow the game of golf.
Yeah, that's what I liked when I first was introduced to the Education City golf course. It was all about education and enticing people to enjoy the game of golf. And
and it's great. And even
just,
you speak to Jose Maria Lathaba and his team, and you say, out of all the people in the world that you could pick, there's famous golf course architects and such like.
Yeah, why
you
him?
may not say why. And they said, well, you know something, when we put our bid together to design it, we focused on education.
Was it because it was going to be built at education?
Yeah, and that, so they came in with that in mind. And what we've got here, and there's not many facilities in the world that have got this, that if you come for a golf lesson here, you can then practice on world-class practice facilities. That's fairly standard. But then after that, if you want to venture out onto the golf course, generally what happens is you step onto an 18-hole golf course, which is usually built to what's known as championship standards.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult.
Yeah.
And you play a few holes and you think, this is tough.
Yeah.
You lose a lot of golf holes and you get put off. And
It's hard, yeah.
It's a tough game.
Yeah.
What we've got here is a really lovely pathway that you can then step off the driving range and say, you know, I'm going to go and play on the 6-hole course, which has got 17 ground options, so there's forward tees, so you can start off with a much gentler experience. So you can play way forward, you can play a hole and think, wow, I hit my shot, I get another one on the green, I'm making good progress. Then as you progress, you can say, well, you know, in a couple of weeks' time, I'm going to tee off further back and set my own challenge.
That's good. Yeah.
And gradually do
Yeah.
it that way. The other thing is, when you're trying any new sport, 18 holes or 4 hours,
Oh,
it's a
it's
lot.
knackered.
It's just
It's-
your
yeah,
brain, you're thinking so
absolutely.
much. 6 is enough.
Yes.
If you've paid for 18, you're going to play 18.
Yes.
Well, if you don't
No,
have
you're
to pay
right.
for 6, you'll play 6, which
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
So that's a great facility to just allow people to develop their game at their own pace. And to complement that, we've got a lovely 9-hole par 3 course. It's just 9 short holes.
Yeah.
And you can choose to do that as well. So if you're time poor. So I think some of the modern challenges that golf has had is time was one of them.
Yes. Yeah.
We've got 2 golf courses here that give you a format of play that you can do in an hour,
Yeah.
which is great.
Which is, yeah, absolutely. You come here for lunch and...
Yeah, in Bahrain we had a great success with the junior program and things like that. Parents would arrive, drop the kids off, sit and drink 2 cups of coffee and then leave.
Yeah.
Now you could drop your kids off for the lesson class and actually go and have a game yourself.
Yeah.
And then meet up, or the kids could then join you afterwards and,
Yeah.
and then continue the round. So I think that's one of the big things we've got going here to allow us to grow the game of golf.
Yeah,
because,
no, for sure.
it's all there. It's available. One good thing that we've got here in Qatar that not a lot of other countries do is probably got 8-9 months of really nice weather as well.
Yeah.
And as we drive past, then you can see our floodlights. We can allow.
So the floodlights are for how many holes? Is that for the 9 holes?
Driving range 9-hole, and then we have plans to, all the foundations and cabling is in for the 6-hole, and we'll probably do that in the summer.
Yeah.
So that'll be 15 holes of golf, floodlit. But in the winter months when we run out of daylight, you can continue to play, and in the summer months when it's a little bit warm, at least you can come out and play out with direct sunlight and play at night time. So
Yeah, no, exactly.
it's a really exciting proposition.
Now, we're just passing your driving range. Now, what's so special about your driving range? 'Cause-
There's 2 great features. Well, there's probably 3 actually, because there's not any driving range in the world, I think, where you can hit golf balls looking at a World Cup stadium.
no, that's true.
So
Yeah, you're right.
That's pretty cool.
What is that? Do you know the name of the stadium?
It's I think it's called Education City.
Oh,
Stadium.
okay. Oh, just
Yeah. The driving range got a couple of really great features. One, there's a piece of technology that was developed a few years ago called TrackMan, and it's a radar system, and it was developed initially for teaching golf. It gives an enormous amount of data on where the club head is and what the ball does and such like, and qualified instructors can analyse that data and give you
hold on.
really,
Where your club head is?
as it's about to hit the ball, is
Really?
it 1 degree pointing this direction, 1 degree pointing that direction, angles of attacks,
Wow.
everything. It tells where the ball's coming off the club face. So it gives an unbelievable amount of data to help the instructor, again, accelerate the learning and improvement process.
Yeah.
They've then furthered this into a system now that can cover the whole range. So anyone coming up to practice on a TrackMan range then just goes onto their phone, downloads the app, it identifies where you are by GPS, and then every shot you hit gets tracked. And it makes golf practice much more interactive, because
Oh,
you
absolutely.
can be on the range, hitting golf balls to a different target. You've got a target map. It's almost like being at a shooting range and seeing where all the golf
Yeah,
balls have gone. There's games created within the system where you get points in relation to proximity of the flag, and then you can play challenge matches against your friends or whatever.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question.
It makes it much more interactive. So what's happened now is golf driving ranges have been good fun, but you're really hitting golf balls with no score. You're just going through the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now it's much more interactive. You can play games, you can play team games, you can interact with other people on the range. And you can, if you're a serious golfer, you can monitor your progress. You can say, I'm practicing and I'm hitting that target 50% of the time, and then next week you're 60%, so you're improving. And if you're a recreational golfer and you're there for a bit of fun, you can just be there with your buddies. And I always just remember as a kid going to driving ranges, you'd try and do longest drive competitions, and it was who was the better arguer. I think my ball went further than yours, right?
Yeah, because you had no idea.
Now you have evidence. Mine went further than yours, and add to the challenge. So. And I think there's a generation out there, the millennial generation, who've grown up with the
whole apps
and tablets and iPads and such like. This is something you can combine playing real sport out in the fresh air. You've still got your app and you're still gathering data and things like that. So
that's brilliant.
It's a really new innovation in the game, and it's something that we've got there. And then there's another thing we've added into the driving range. It's called Power Tee. And this is purely down to possibly laziness. You get your golf balls and you hit one, you bend down, you tee it up, you hit one. On the power tee, you pour your golf balls into the power tee, you hit a golf ball, and the next one pops up out the ground. Great stuff.
That's brilliant. You don't have to bend down. You just
and by their own statistics, I think people practice or they stay there 50% longer. Because it's easier, it's more fun. And I know when my kids were growing up and I used to take them to the driving range, the one in St Andrews used to have 4 or 5 of these power tees. They always wanted to go that one because it's more fun for the kids.
No, I can imagine.
It's more interactive and things like that.
Well, my son came down to the training that you have on a Saturday, and I think it took 10 minutes trying to put the ball on the actual tee.
Yeah.
So having one of those is called a power tee.
Called Power Tee, and tomorrow, National Sports Day, is the first day we're actually opening the Power Tee up. So.
Oh, well, that's a good test.
Yeah. So,
how many people do you think are going to be turning up?
Well, I hope. Hi, Sheikh. How are you? I think hopefully a couple of hundred. We've got 100 people signed up for our tournament in the morning anyway, playing on the championship course.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got a number of people rolling up to play 9 and 6 and our golf clinics. But I know from previous, last year on Sports Day, we weren't open, but we just had an open house, come and have a look and walk around the golf course.
Yeah.
A lot of people turned up. So I think that's what the day's like, isn't it? People drive around Qatar and say, I'm going to go there and try this.
Absolutely.
So we expect a number of people to come through and give it a whirl. So
nice.
It was really exciting.
Now the path that we've been following, is that all around the course, so that it follows each hole?
Yeah, so...
Is that the aim, is to keep golf carts on the path?
No. The carts can drive on the fairways.
Oh, okay.
You would just have... here it's unusual, in inclement weather, if you had excessive heavy rain, for example, you keep the carts on the path only. But you generally have you would anyway have paths from, you'll take the cart away from the fairway when you get close to the putting greens and the teeing grounds.
Yeah.
And so when building the course, we've just linked them all together so it's continuous loop all the way around. But you can see the golfer behind us there, he's just driven on the fairway. Yeah. But he's directing his cart because he's going to drive up onto the path because he doesn't want to drive too close to the putting greens. It's really part of the etiquette of the game and again part of wear and tear, because the carts do cause a little bit of compaction on the fairway.
Yeah. And can you do the course just walking around as well?
We encourage walking, and at this time of year, it's lovely to walk. And one of the other elements we're doing is the old traditional part of golf, having a caddy. So we're starting our training courses this month to get some of our team up to speed as caddies. And again, I hope over time we can introduce that to some young people in Qatar who want to earn a little bit extra pocket money.
Absolutely.
Going out caddying. I mean,
and will they give the golfer advice as well? Is that part of the training course?
That'll be part of the training, yeah. So caddies are really, the responsibility obviously is to carry the clubs, keep the clubs clean, keep them in order, but to give advice on distance. A good caddy will understand how far you hit the ball pretty quick and then can advise you on which club to hit. And caddies are very valuable to visitors who've never played the course before.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
advising. So on this hole, sir, would you want to hit it down just to the right of that tree is where your target.
Yeah.
And people enjoy that. And up until 60 or 70 years ago, before golf carts were invented, that's the way golf was played.
Yeah.
And that's how golf grew. So a lot of the great American players in particular started out as caddies
Oh, really?
at these country clubs, played golf,
Yeah, that's
learned
true.
golf,
Yeah.
and carried on. And again, wouldn't that be great here? We can get some youngsters doing a little bit of caddying and
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
falling in love with
Yeah.
the game. So whilst they're earning a little bit of weekend pocket money, they can play a bit of golf later on and develop themselves as golfers. So,
Nice.
and caddying's still pretty strong tradition in Scotland.
Yeah.
At the tourist courses. So there's a big caddy culture around the area. I grew up in St Andrews and such like, and it really can be part of the experience. You get a good caddy who can give you good advice and tell you some interesting stories about
Yeah.
the facility.
Yeah.
Then it makes it more pleasurable for the visitor to the country.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyone flying in, do they just can they book online, or how does it work? You know, can they just come rack up and?
Yeah, people can. The golf club here, and it's the same as Dover Golf Club as well, is worked on what's known as a semi-private model,
Right.
where you have members,
Yeah.
and members have priority. They paid in advance to use the facility, so peak times are reserved for members. But then other times,
And when is generally peak times?
peak
for a
times are
golf?
generally Fridays and Saturdays, and then probably late afternoon,
Right.
and of course public holidays as well.
Yeah.
But during the week, we really need to fill our golf course up with touristic golfers. So we're doing a lot of work with Discover Qatar, who are the DMC for Qatar Airways,
Yeah.
and engaged with a lot of tour operators. So already we're seeing a lot of interest from groups from Northern Europe, in particular Scandinavia.
Well, yeah. Seeing that it's rough winter now,
Yeah.
so this is the perfect place to.
Perfect place,
Yeah.
and Qatar Airways network's phenomenal. They're just everywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I don't know how many millions of people pass through the airport, but
Yeah.
part of, I think, the country's touristic strategy anyway is to encourage people to spend at least 3-4 days here enjoying what's on offer. And from a golf perspective, between ourselves and Doha, we've got 60 holes of golf, of which there's floodlit golf and there's a trackman range. There's a variety. So it's actually a very attractive proposition.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
whether you want to come here and make it your only destination for golf, or as a lot of people, and we've already seen people doing this, they're on their way over to Asia, they're down to Australia and such like, they're stopping over for 3 or 4 days, taking in the golf here and then continuing their journey on. So
Do you think they'd introduce, you know, if you've got an 8-hour stopover, or because they introduced where you could tour around Doha in a bus?
Yeah,
Do you think there's going to
that's
be
one of the products that we're working with
Okay.
Qatar Airways on. Yeah, I think that's
'Cause that'd be
amazing.
great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from a price point there, it's kind of a lost leader for us, because once you put in the chauffeur-driven car to get from the airport here and back again, but what we see
yeah,
is
true.
amazing marketing opportunity. You imagine someone flying to Australia and they stop off and play golf, and then that's something they would never expect
Yeah.
to do. They're going to be posting it to all their friends and saying, "Look at me, I've
Absolutely,
done
yeah.
this." Or
They're doing your own market? Yeah.
I played a
Doing
6-hole
marketing.
floodlit course in Qatar, and
Yeah.
I've jumped back on the plane. It's brilliant. So we're excited about trying to do that.
Yeah,
I think
no,
that,
for sure.
That'll work really well.
So what hole are we actually coming
We're
to
actually now coming up to hole number 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
And
what's the longest part of the course?
the longest hole
Longest
on
tee.
the course
Course.
is hole number 6, a par 5 hole, and then hole number 13 is about 1 yard shorter, just under 600 yards. So a couple of big holes there.
Yeah.
And
And which hole is the hardest? This looks quite. This is full of bunkers around the.
yeah, there's some challenging holes. What the architect's done, Alathalah's done a great job with bunkering. Is they're big white face bunkers, and visually they're intimidating. So when you stand on the tee, you think, wow, there's a lot of trouble
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
But when you get down, as you'll see when you get here, there's actually a lot more space to land your golf
okay.
ball than you think. And that's what really good golf course architects do, is they're playing with your mind. They're trying to trick you
Right.
there. So there's a lot of strategy in our course. One of the things that we've been extremely fortunate with as well is the landscape palette. You'll see it looks very mature. This golf course looks like it's been here for 10 or 15 years.
And it's only been
open since January. And there was a little bit of luck in that during construction, the contractor who was building the orbital highway contacted us and said, we've got a lot of these mature acacia trees in our way.
Yeah.
Do you want them? I said, sure, bring them on. They transported them, transplanted them here, and I think there was a success rate, but 95% success rate. So we've got some really, really mature trees on our site that we wouldn't normally have. So the golf course has got this look of maturity.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well beyond its years.
Yeah, because when I was here on Saturday and I was just near the practice range, I thought, oh, there isn't many trees. But actually, when we've been going around, this part is, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you see that one there, that's probably a 30-year-old acacia tree. So wonderful to do it. And then again, the other landscaping, there's been thousands and thousands of shrubs and native plants planted. And, heat and water makes things grow pretty quick. So
no, absolutely.
The maturity of the golf course has come on really quickly. So, and a lot of nice colour bougainvillea there, and then there's some other trees and plants that flower, yellow flowers, orange flowers. So it's just a lovely environment to be playing golf in when you live in a desert, and then to come and see all this green space.
Yeah, that's what makes it when you're in the desert, and then you come to the golf course. It's just full of greenery. It's beautiful. Have you had any issue with the rain and with the bunkers? How have you done the whole drainage? How does the golf course work?
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of the construction plan. So they start off with the architect lays out. He does his initial routing plan to make sure you start and finish at the same point. But there's a bit of art in that. Architect walks the site, looks at some of the natural features. There's a lot of wadi features here. There's an ancient wadi well, there was an old wall.
Really?
So they've all been preserved and are integrated into the design. And then you do your routing plan, and then when you're building up your design, there's drainage and runoff. So a lot of the drainage runs off into our lakes, which is good. So there's a little bit of recirculation of the water. Some of the drains will run into the wadis that ultimately run into the lake. So that's been really good. And I think we were lucky. That storm in October was classified as a 100-year storm, so we shouldn't see anything the likes again for a few years, maybe. But
but everything was okay.
The weather in the world is doing some crazy things.
Oh, absolutely.
But we saw some runoff points, and we've now been able to modify a few little bits and pieces there. So yeah, it stood up well to the rain. Part of the construction of the course was more from a conservation of water, because in this part of the world, water is very, very important. This is part of our sustainability mission. Instead of drainage pipes, they actually laid an entire gravel layer of a byproduct of manufacturing in Qatar. And all the materials were sourced in Qatar to build the golf course. And that actually acts as a little bit of a reservoir. So when you irrigate, and we won't be irrigating tonight because nature's irrigating for us, but when you irrigate normally, the water seeps through the sand layer into this gravel layer, and that acts as a reservoir for a period of time, encourages the roots of the grass to go further into it.
So that makes it stronger.
Longer roots, healthier grass, and then it drains back off into the lake. So there's a little bit of recycling going on there. Our golf course superintendent, Dan, he worked previously in the UAE. He's been measuring and saying, well, we're using about 20-25% less water than you would on a same size golf course in a comparable country because of this gravel layer. So that's worked well on from a sustainability side as well.
So as we're coming near to the end, moving forward to the future, how do you see the Education City's golf course Is it going to be holding major events? Do you see that happening? And
Yeah, I think so. I think there'll be. That's not our purpose.
No.
Our purpose is to grow the game of golf.
Yeah.
And one of the key facilities we built is the Centre of Excellence, which is our golf school. It's unbelievable. It's got some incredible technology in it, again, to accelerate learning. We want to use that to attract teams to come and use this as a winter training camp, but to attract kids, students. There's 9 universities in Education City.
Yeah,
Students need to be playing golf. And one element of the Centre of Excellence has got a totally private area for ladies. So we can get Qatari ladies to come and learn golf in privacy with a lady coach, not be restricted in having to try and swing a golf club in the bay on. And again, that's a massive opportunity.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of ladies, Qatari ladies, playing golf. Huge opportunity to grow the game.
Yeah.
So that's our primary purpose, is to just get as many people playing golf as possible, enjoying the great facilities and enjoying the nice landscape that we have.
Yeah.
Even if people come down and just do a little bit of putting or hit balls in the driving range, that's fine. At least they're active and they're trying a new sport.
Yeah.
But as a byproduct of having great facilities, people will want to use it to promote and have events. And
You're open to that as
we're
well.
open to that. Yeah. It's again.
But I suppose your biggest achievement will be to see students come through and then go on and achieve around the world.
Yeah, exactly. If we can unearth some talent, and you don't know if you're good at a sport unless you try it.
No, absolutely.
The very fact of putting a golf club in someone's hands, it could be their thing. It could be the thing that they want to do in their life. They love it. It clicks with them, and then it's up to them to practice. And all the facilities are here for them to become as good as they want to be, like in any sport.
Yeah.
But big events are good. Qatar Masters is the Doha Golf Club in a month's time.
Yeah.
Events like that inspire youngsters. They go and watch. They go and
Absolutely.
watch people who are masters at their trade, the top professionals, and any engagement from the top professionals with youngsters can inspire them. So that's all good. So I'm sure in years to come there'll be more big events here.
And do we have any Qatari hopefuls?
I think so. Yeah. The Qatar Golf Association has been running for a number of years. They've been doing training programs. Aspire has a number of golfers at Aspire as well. So there's one or two that I know will be playing in the Qatar Masters. I don't think any have broken through into turning professional and trying to play golf for a living, but they've got to a high level at an amateur level. And I think it just needs to have, you need to have a wider base. If you start with 50, the chances of producing a great golfer is limited. But if you start with 500 or 1,000 or 2,000, then there's a greater chance. And the other thing that happens, and you see this around the world with all sports, is you tend to get talent in clusters, because kids playing together spar off each other and improve. And then one week you do well, and say, "Hey, I'm better than him. I'll do," and it brings them on. And I've read a lot about this in different sports, but different countries have produced some amazing champions, and they come from the same village.
Oh, really?
I think Russia had a village just outside Moscow where 3 or 4 of the top 10 tennis players in the world came from the same village.
Wow.
Because that knowledge, that coaching, that environment of constantly striving and improving and saying, well, yeah, I used to be able to beat her, and she's just won a tournament. Well, I can win a tournament. You know, the belief. So I think the more people we get trying golf, we can bring them on, and there's no shortage of enthusiasm at the moment amongst the schools. We've been engaging with the schools, and the thing here again is when you bring kids to the facility, the driving range is okay for a while, but they get bored.
Yep.
A lot of clubs have struggled because the full 18-hole course is used for other purposes. You can't get the kids on it.
No, you're
We've
right.
got 9-hole par 3, we've got 6-hole, so the kids can come and learn and then go on the golf course sooner rather than later, because driving ranges are okay, but nothing beats the real thing and going out and playing with pals.
And they're not intimidated by the adults who are waiting to, you know, if they mess up a shot or anything like that, they can.
Exactly.
No, that's
it's all there. It's up to myself and my team to activate it and make it happen, really, and get more and more people playing this great game.
Very nice. Well, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
I think we're coming to the end now.
Good.
So I hope everyone's appreciated the show in the golf cart and you've seen a bit of the golf course behind us. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
I
It
look
looks
forward.
even better in the sunshine, but it's
Yeah, I can't believe it.
With-
It looks like it's going to open up and really downpour in a minute. So
it shows the floodlights are shining lovely tonight. But even to me, coming from Scotland, this is still a pretty nice night for golf.
well,
So,
yeah, this is your summer, I
Yeah.
suppose. This is like your summer.
Exactly.
So anyway, take care. Thank you for listening and watching, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Okay.
Bye-bye.